This plan saves your company.
Lighting. It's you I'm interested in.
From boardroom to bedroom, a millionaire's heart stolen. Glass walls frame the Chicago skyline, the Willis Tower's 60th floor humming with tension. Aisha Coleman, a black woman in a sharp navy blazer and silk blouse, stands tall, her dark eyes blazing with focus. Her voice, steady and commanding, pitches a daring plan to save a tech empire from ruin. Across the polished table, Daniel Harper, a white CEO with tousled blonde hair and a crisp charcoal suit, leans in, his blue eyes fixed on her. His sharp challenge cuts through the room, but Aisha's precise response silences him. Sparks fly, not just from their words, but from something deeper, a connection that stills the skeptical board. Chicago's glittering lights reflect their intensity as Aisha's passion softens Daniel's guarded stare. What happens when a corporate clash ignites a fight for the heart? Subscribe for more stories like this. Tomorrow's tale is one you won't want to miss. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Your support brings more powerful stories to you. Let's begin. The Chicago skyline sparkles below the signature room, perched high atop the John Hancock Center. Aisha Coleman steps into the sleek lounge, her emerald dress catching the soft glow of the chandeliers. Her confident stride, honed in the corporate battlegrounds of the Loop, masks a flicker of caution. She's here to meet Daniel Harper, the Millionaire'S CEO whose challenge in the Willis Tower boardroom still lingers in her mind. Daniel waits at a corner table, his charcoal suit jacket draped over the chair, his tie loosened to reveal a hint of vulnerability. His blonde hair, slightly tousled, frames a face that's all charm and guarded intensity. The city's lights stretch out beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, a dazzling backdrop to their meeting. "Thought we could discuss your proposal over drinks," Daniel says, his voice smooth but curious, gesturing to a glass of bourbon. Aisha slides into the seat across from him, ordering a glass of red wine, her movements deliberate. She's no stranger to navigating rooms where she's underestimated. A black woman from the South Side, rising to senior executive in a world of glass ceilings. Her roots in Bronzeville, where she grew up listening to jazz at the Green Mill and watching her mother work late shifts at a diner near Washington Park, keep her grounded. She meets Daniel's gaze, ready to keep this professional. Their conversation starts with business, her plan to save his tech company from its data breach crisis. Daniel leans forward, questioning her strategy with a mix of skepticism and admiration. "You're bold," he says, a smile tugging at his lips. "Most people would play it safe." Aisha's eyes narrow, but she counters with data, her voice steady, weaving stories of companies she's turned around. The room fades as their banter sharpens, each word a step in a dance neither expected. Then the tone shifts. Over a second round of drinks, Daniel's guard slips. He stares at the city below, his fingers tracing the rim of his glass. "My daughter," he says quietly, she's 16, "lives in Seattle with her mom. I call, but she barely answers." His voice cracks, revealing a man whose wealth can't bridge the gap to his child. Aisha pauses, her wine glass hovering. She knows loss, not of a child, but of time, of dreams deferred. "My mom worked 2 jobs, she says, her tone softer now. Nights at a diner in Bronzeville, days cleaning houses. She did it so I could go to Northwestern. Never complained, but I saw the toll." Her words carry the weight of her South Side upbringing, the sacrifices etched into her ambition. Daniel looks at her, really looks, as if seeing past her polished exterior. "You're not what I expected," he admits. Aisha laughs, a low, genuine sound that breaks the tension. "Good. I'm not here to meet expectations." Their laughter mingles, a moment of connection that feels dangerous. The skyline glitters, the Chicago River winding like a ribbon below, but Aisha feels the pull of something risky. She sets her glass down, her smile fading. "I should go," she says, standing abruptly. This stays professional. Daniel nods, but his eyes linger as she walks away, her heels clicking against the polished floor. Back in her Hyde Park apartment, a cozy space with bookshelves and a view of the Museum of Science and Industry. Aisha slips off her dress and sits on her couch, staring at the city lights. Her ambition has always been her shield, through microaggressions in boardrooms, through relationships that crumbled under her drive. She thinks of Daniel's confession, his vulnerability a crack in his polished facade. It unsettles her, this glimpse of a man who might understand her fight. But letting him in means risking the walls she's built. Across town, in his Gold Coast penthouse overlooking Navy Pier's glowing Ferris wheel, Daniel paces. The luxury of his space, marble counters, floor-to-ceiling windows, feels hollow tonight. Aisha's story about her mother, her unapologetic strength, replays in his mind. He's used to people bending to his charm, his wealth, but Aisha is different. She's real, a challenge he can't shake. He pours another bourbon, staring at the city, wondering why her face won't leave him. Their brief connection, forged over drinks and shared truths, has lit a spark neither can ignore. Aisha's authenticity, rooted in her Bronzeville upbringing, and Daniel's rare openness have bridged a divide neither expected. But the line between professional and personal is blurring, and the city's pulse seems to echo their uncertainty. What happens when two worlds collide, and neither is ready to yield? This moment teaches a truth. Being real, even in a world of facades, can spark something powerful. Aisha and Daniel's honesty, however brief, has set the stage for something more, if they're brave enough to chase it. The fluorescent hum of a loop office buzzes late into the night, where Aisha Coleman and Daniel Harper huddle over laptops, crafting a restructuring plan to save his tech company. Aisha, in a tailored gray blouse, her hair pulled back, scribbles notes with precision. Daniel, sleeves rolled up, his blonde hair catching the desk lamp's glow, debates her ideas with a mix of challenge and admiration. Boxes of Lou Malnati's deep dish pizza litter the table, the scent of tomato sauce mingling with coffee from intelligentsia down the street. Their laughter breaks the work's intensity when Aisha teases Daniel's attempt to eat pizza with a fork. Chicago style, not corporate, she quips, her smile disarming. Daniel's eyes linger, his usual CEO polish giving way to something warmer. Their connection grows beyond the office. One evening, they walk along the lakefront trail, the Adler Planetarium's dome glowing against the twilight sky. Aisha's sneakers crunch on the path, her casual jeans a contrast to her boardroom armor. Daniel, in a navy sweater, matches her pace, the lake's breeze tousling his hair. Their talk shifts from spreadsheets to dreams. Aisha shares her childhood memories of poetry slams in Bronzeville. Daniel admits his company's success hasn't filled the void of his daughter's distance. The city's skyline looms, a silent witness to their easing guards. When their hands brush, neither pulls away, and Aisha feels a flicker of something she hasn't allowed in years, that a business trip to Napa Valley's Meritage Resort changes everything. After a day of tech conference panels, Aisha and Daniel escape to a vineyard in St. Helena, the rolling hills bathed in golden light. Aisha, in a flowing white dress, sips Cabernet Sauvignon under a canopy of stars, her laughter softer now. Daniel, in a linen shirt, his tie long discarded, watches her with unguarded intensity. The vineyard's quiet wraps around them, far from Chicago's pulse. "I'm failing her," Daniel says suddenly, his voice low, eyes on the horizon. "My daughter. I built all this, but I can't reach her." His honesty cuts through the night, raw and unfiltered. Aisha sets her glass down, her own walls crumbling. "I've been so focused on winning," she admits, her voice barely above a whisper. "Climbing the ladder, proving I belong. But it's lonely at the top." Her words carry the weight of years spent guarding her heart, her South Side resilience both a strength and a shield. Daniel steps closer, his gaze steady. "You're not alone tonight," he says. In a rush of impulse, he leans in, and their lips meet, an electric, fleeting kiss that sets Aisha's pulse racing. The stars above seem to pulse brighter, the vineyard holding its breath. But Aisha pulls back, her breath uneven, her eyes wide with conflict. "This can't happen," she says, stepping away, her hands trembling. Memories of past relationships flood her, men who couldn't handle her ambition, who saw her strength as a threat. She's fought too hard to risk it all for a moment of weakness. Daniel nods, his expression torn, but doesn't push. "I'm sorry," he says, his voice gentle. They return to the resort in silence, the night's magic tainted by Aisha's fear. Back in Chicago, Aisha sits in her Hyde Park apartment, the Museum of Science and Industry's silhouette visible through her window. She replays the kiss, Daniel's confession, her own admission. Vulnerability felt like strength in that moment, but now it terrifies her. Her ambition has always been her anchor, but what if it's also her cage? Across town, Daniel stands on his Gold Coast balcony, Navy Pier's Ferris wheel spinning in the distance. Aisha's words about loneliness echo in his mind, her strength a mirror to his own unhealed wounds. He wants to reach for her, but senses her walls are higher than his. This moment, born under Napa's stars, teaches a truth. Vulnerability can forge deeper bonds, even when it feels like a risk. Aisha and Daniel's shared confessions have lit a flame, but Aisha's fear of losing herself threatens to snuff it out. The city's heartbeat and the vineyard's quiet both pulse with their unspoken question. Can they embrace what scares them most? The West Loop buzzes with evening energy as Aisha Coleman and Daniel Harper share a corner table at the Girl and the Goat, the restaurant's warm lights casting a glow on Aisha's crimson sweater. Her laughter, bright and unguarded, fills the space as Daniel, in a tailored black shirt, recounts a failed attempt to cook for his daughter years ago. Their plates, piled with roasted beets and goat carpaccio, sit half forgotten as their conversation deepens. Aisha teases Daniel's taste for fine dining, her South Side roots shining through in her love for neighborhood spots like Harold's Chicken. Daniel leans closer, his blue eyes catching hers, and for a moment, the crowded room fades. Their connection, sparked in boardrooms and vineyards, now feels like a lifeline. Their romance blooms in stolen moments. In Daniel's Gold Coast penthouse, overlooking Navy Pier's glowing Ferris wheel, they share quiet nights on his leather couch, jazz from a Chicago club streaming softly. Aisha, in cozy leggings and a loose blouse, curls up beside Daniel, his arm around her. They talk about dreams, hers of mentoring young women in Bronzeville, his of rebuilding his bond with his daughter. But differences linger. Aisha feels the weight of dating a white CEO in Chicago, a city where race shapes every interaction. At a networking event in the Loop, she catches sidelong glances, whispers about their unlikely pair. She brushes them off, but the stares stir doubts. Can Daniel ever understand her world? Aisha seeks clarity at her childhood home near Washington Park, a modest brick house where hydrangeas bloom in the yard. Inside, the scent of her mother's cornbread fills the air. Aisha, in jeans and a hoodie, sits at the worn kitchen table, her mother's warm eyes meeting hers. "You're carrying our whole community," her mother says, referencing Aisha's rise from South Side to corporate suites. Aisha nods, her fingers tracing the table's scratches. She thinks of Bronzeville's jazz clubs, the DuSable Black History Museum, the strength of her roots. Her ambition has always been for them, her people, her mother. But loving Daniel feels like stepping into a world that might erase her. The fear of losing herself gnaws at her, even as her heart pulls toward him. Meanwhile, Daniel faces his own pressures. In a sleek boardroom overlooking Lake Michigan, his all-male board pushes for quick profits, dismissing Aisha's bold restructuring plan as too risky. Daniel, in a crisp gray suit, defends her ideas, his voice firm but strained. "She's the best we've got," he says, but the board's skepticism tests his loyalty. Later, alone in his office, he stares at a photo of his daughter, her smile distant. Supporting Aisha means challenging his board, risking his control. Yet her strength, her vision, remind him of what he's lost: connection, purpose. He wants to be the man she sees in him, but the corporate world he's mastered demands otherwise. Their bond deepens despite the cracks. One evening, they stroll along the Chicago Riverwalk, the city's lights reflecting on the water. Aisha, in a wool coat, shares stories of her mother's late-night shifts, her voice thick with pride. Daniel listens, his scarf loose, and tries to grasp the weight of her world. "I want to understand," he he says, his hand finding hers. Aisha squeezes back, but her smile is cautious. She wants to believe in him, in them, but the cultural divide feels vast. At his penthouse, they share a slow dance, the skyline framing their closeness, but Aisha's heart wrestles with trust. Can love bridge what society pulls apart? The pressures mount, threatening their fragile bond. Aisha's colleagues whisper about favoritism, questioning her rise. Daniel's board grows restless, hinting at replacing him if he doesn't prioritize profit. Each feels the pull of their worlds. Aisha's rooted in community, Daniel's in power. Yet their moments together, laughing over dinner, sharing truths under the stars, hold a promise neither can ignore. The city's pulse, from the West Loop's vibrancy to Washington Park's quiet strength, mirrors their growing love and the tensions that test it. This chapter teaches a truth. Love demands empathy to navigate differences. Aisha and Daniel's bond thrives when they listen, when they try to see each other's worlds. But as external forces press in, their connection faces a test. Can they hold on when their lives pull them in opposite directions? Rain streaks the windows of Aisha Coleman's Hyde Park apartment. The Museum of Science and Industries dome a faint outline in the dusk. Aisha, in a soft sweater and jeans, pours tea, her movements tense as Daniel Harper sits across from her on a worn couch. His tailored coat is slung over a chair, his blonde hair damp from the Chicago downpour. The air feels heavy, not just from the storm outside, but from the weight of his words. "I got an offer," Daniel says, his voice steady but eyes searching. "Sell the company, move to New York. Billions, Aisha. A fresh start." He pauses, leaning forward. "Come with me. A brownstone on Park Avenue, you and me." His offer hangs between them, a vision of wealth and a new life that Aisha's cup clatters against the saucer, her dark eyes flashing. "New York," she says, her voice sharp. "You're asking me to leave everything, my career, my community, my home?" Her South Side roots, forged in Bronzeville's jazz clubs and Washington Park's quiet strength, anchor her. She's fought to rise in Chicago's corporate world, a black woman proving her worth in rooms that rarely welcome her. Daniel's offer feels like a dismissal of that fight. "You don't get it," she says, standing, her hands clenched. "This city, these people, they're who I am. You're asking me to erase myself." Daniel rises, his jaw tight. "I'm asking you to choose us," he counters, his voice rising. "I'm offering everything I have. You're the one putting your career first." His words sting, echoing Aisha's fear that love might demand too much. The argument escalates, their voices clashing in the small apartment. Aisha accuses Daniel of ignoring her roots, her struggle. Daniel, hurt, insists he's trying to build a future together. The storm outside mirrors their turmoil, thunder punctuating their words. Finally, Aisha turns away, her voice cold. "Go to New York, Daniel." "I can't." He grabs his coat and leaves, the doors slam echoing in the silence. They part ways, the fracture deep. Aisha throws herself into a high-profile project at her firm, leading meetings in the Loop with fierce determination. Her tailored suits and sharp presentations mask the ache in her chest. Late at night, she walks the Chicago Riverwalk, the city's lights reflecting on the water. Memories of Daniel, his laugh at the girl and the goat, their dance in his penthouse, haunt her. She wonders if she's chosen ambition over love, if her fear of losing herself has cost her something real. The river's steady flow offers no answers, only the weight of regret. In New York, Daniel settles into a Park Avenue brownstone, its marble floors and high ceilings a stark contrast to Chicago's warmth. He's a billionaire now, the deal done, but his victory feels empty. From his window, Manhattan's skyline stretches, cold, towering, indifferent. He thinks of Aisha, her strength, her stories of Bronzeville, her kiss under Napa's stars. He replays their fight, her accusation that he didn't understand her world. He's starting to see she was right. His wealth, his power, can't fill the void she left. He pours a drink, staring at the city, wondering if he's lost her for good. Both are haunted, their choice is a heavy price. Aisha, passing the Adler Planetarium on her walks, feels the pull of what might have been. Daniel, navigating New York's elite circles, finds no one who challenges him like Aisha did. Their love, once a spark that lit up Chicago's nights, now feels like a ghost. The distance between them, geographic, emotional, tests the bond they built. Yet the ache in their hearts hints at something unresolved, a connection too strong to fade completely. This moment teaches a truth. Love requires sacrifice, but not the surrender of who you are. Aisha's refusal to abandon her roots and Daniel's push for a shared future reveal the cost of their choices. As they face their separate paths, the question lingers. Can love survive when it demands so much? Their story pauses here, on the edge of loss, setting the stage for what comes next. The Loop's corporate towers gleam as Aisha Coleman steps into a boardroom, her tailored black suit sharp against the glass walls. Her latest project, a restructuring triumph, has earned her a promotion, cementing her as a force in Chicago's business world. Colleagues nod in respect, but Aisha's smile is tight, her dark eyes carrying a quiet weight. At 34, she's climbed higher than she ever dreamed, a black woman from the South Side now shaping the city's skyline. Yet, as she walks past the Art Institute, its stone lion standing sentinel, memories of Daniel Harper flood back. His laugh, his touch, their dance in his penthouse. The absence of him aches, a shadow over her success. In Bronzeville, Aisha speaks at a community event near the DuSable Black History Museum, the crowd of young professionals hanging on her words. Dressed in a vibrant blue dress, her voice carries the strength of her roots, urging them to chase their dreams without forgetting where they come from. "This neighborhood raised me," she says, gesturing to the streets where jazz notes spill from clubs. "It's your foundation, too." Applause rises, but her heart drifts. She sees Daniel's face in the crowd, his blue eyes, his rare vulnerability, though he's not there. Flashbacks flicker, their laughter on the lakefront trail, the Adler Planetarium glowing behind them, their kiss under Napa's starlit vines, electric and fleeting. Her love for him lingers, unyielding. Aisha walks the lakefront trail alone, the lake's waves lapping gently, the city's skyline a jagged silhouette. Her sneakers scuff the path, her coat wrapped tight against the autumn chill. She remembers their walks here, Daniel's hand brushing hers, his stories of his daughter mingling with her tales of Bronzeville. The trail, once alive with their connection, now feels empty. She wonders if she was wrong to let him go, if her fear of losing herself pushed away something real. Her ambition, forged in the struggles of her South Side childhood, has carried her far, but at what cost? The question gnaws at her, unanswered. Seeking clarity, Aisha visits her mother's home near Washington Park, the same brick house where she grew up. The kitchen smells of cornbread, the walls adorned with family photos, her mother's tired smile after long shifts, Aisha's graduation cap. Aisha, in a soft sweater, sits at the familiar table, her mother's warm eyes meeting hers. "You're carrying so much," her mother says, her voice gentle but firm. "Your work, our community, it's who you are. But don't let it close your heart." She squeezes Aisha's hand, her words cutting through the noise. "You can have both, love and your roots, if you're brave enough to try." Aisha's throat tightens, her mother's wisdom echoing the pull she feels toward Daniel. Back in her Hyde Park apartment, the Museum of Science and Industry's dome visible through the window, Aisha sits on her couch, a notebook open. She jots down thoughts, her pen moving swiftly. Her career is her anchor, a testament to her mother's sacrifices and her community's strength. But Daniel's confession in Napa, his hand in hers on the Riverwalk, revealed a man who saw her. Not just the executive, but the woman. She thinks of their fight, her refusal to leave Chicago, his plea for a shared future. Was she protecting her identity or hiding from love? The question stirs a shift within her, a realization that ambition doesn't have to mean solitude. Aisha stands at her window, the city's lights stretching before her. She's always defined herself by her climb, by proving she belongs in rooms that tried to shut her out. But her mother's words linger. Love doesn't demand surrender, only courage. She imagines a life where she balances both, her career, her roots, and a man who challenges her to be more. The Art Institute, the lakefront trail, Bronzeville's vibrant streets. They're part of her, but so is the spark she felt with Daniel. For the first time, she wonders if she can hold on to herself and still let him in. This moment teaches a truth. Self-reflection lights the path to aligning what you value with who you love. Aisha's growth, rooted in her community's strength and her mother's wisdom, opens her heart to possibility. As she stands on the edge of change, the city's pulse seems to whisper, maybe love and ambition can coexist if she's brave enough to try. The Upper East Side hums with wealth, its brownstones glowing under Manhattan's evening sky. Daniel Harper's Park Avenue apartment, with its marble floors and sleek furniture, feels more like a museum than a home. He stands at a floor-to-ceiling window, his tailored navy suit crisp, but his blonde hair slightly mussed, as if he's run his hands through it too many times. The city's skyline stretches before him, towers of glass and steel, a testament to his new billions. Yet, as he sips a glass of scotch, the victory feels hollow. Aisha Coleman's absence is a weight he can't shake, her strength and warmth a stark contrast to the cold luxury around him. At a gala in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Daniel navigates a sea of tuxedos and glittering gowns. The great hall's chandeliers cast a golden glow, but his smile is forced as he shakes hands with New York's elite. A string quartet plays, yet his thoughts drift to Aisha, her sharp wit in the Willis Tower boardroom, her laughter over pizza in the Loop. Flashbacks flood in, their first clash, her dark eyes burning with conviction. Their kiss under Napa's starlit vines, electric and fleeting. He sees her now in every detail, her emerald dress at the signature room, her stories of Bronzeville's jazz clubs. The gala's chatter fades, and he steps onto a balcony, the city's lights blurring as regret settles in. Daniel meets a friend, Mark, at a quiet Upper East Side cafe the next day. Its leather booths a refuge from Manhattan's bustle. Over coffee, Daniel's guard drops, his voice low. "I messed up," he admits, his fingers tracing the cup's rim. "I asked Aisha to leave Chicago, her life, everything. I thought I was offering her the world, but I didn't see hers." Mark listens, nodding. "You're used to calling the shots, Dan. Love doesn't work like that." The words hit hard, echoing Aisha's accusation in her Hyde Park apartment. Daniel thinks of her roots, Bronzeville, her mother's sacrifices, the community she carries. He'd asked her to abandon it all, blind to what it meant. Back in his apartment, Daniel paces, Manhattan's skyline a cold backdrop. He pulls out his phone, scrolling through photos. Aisha on the lakefront trail, her smile bright against the Adler Planetarium. Their dinner at the Girl and the Goat, her teasing him about his pizza etiquette. He'd been drawn to her authenticity, her strength, but he'd pushed her to fit his world instead of meeting her in hers. The realization stings. He's been chasing control, not connection, just like with his daughter, whose calls he still misses. Aisha deserved better, and so does he. Determined to change, Daniel calls an emergency board meeting via video from his Park Avenue study. His voice is firm, his blue eyes resolute. "I'm restructuring operations," he declares, outlining a plan to delegate leadership. "I'll oversee strategy but split my time with Chicago." The board protests, citing risks, but Daniel stands his ground. This isn't just about Aisha. It's about becoming a man who values connection over power. He thinks of his daughter, of rebuilding that bridge, and of Aisha, whose world he wants to understand. By freeing himself from the CEO's constant demands, he's choosing a life where love has room to grow. Late at night, Daniel stands on his balcony, the city's hum distant. He imagines Aisha in Chicago, her voice inspiring young professionals in Bronzeville, her strength rooted in her community. He sees his mistake clearly now. Love means meeting her on her terms, not his. The thought of returning to Chicago, of seeing her again, sparks a hope he hasn't felt since their Napa kiss. He books a flight, his decision made. The skyline no longer feels like a cage. It's a reminder of what he's willing to fight for. This moment teaches a truth. Growth comes from owning your mistakes and adapting. Daniel's transformation, sparked by regret and fueled by clarity, shifts his path. He's no longer the CEO who demands control, but a man ready to build a life with Aisha, respecting her world. As he prepares to return to Chicago, the question lingers. Will she let him back in? Chicago's McCormick Place buzzes with the energy of a tech summit, its glass halls filled with suits and screens. Daniel Harper navigates the crowd, his tailored blazer sharp, but his blonde hair slightly tousled, a sign of his restless journey back from New York. He's here for business, but his heart pulls him elsewhere, to Aisha Coleman. Learning she's speaking at a Bronzeville event, he drives through the city, past the DuSable Black History Museum, to a community center where young professionals gather. Inside, Aisha stands on a small stage, her burgundy dress vibrant under the lights, her voice steady and inspiring. "Your roots are your strength," she tells the crowd, her dark eyes shining with conviction. "Bronzeville taught me that." Daniel watches from the back, her words stirring memories of their talks, her pride in her South Side heritage, her mother's sacrifices. Her strength, her authenticity, hit him like they did in that first boardroom clash. As the crowd applauds, Daniel lingers, his pulse quickening. Aisha steps off the stage, greeting attendees, her smile warm but guarded. He approaches, his throat tight. "Aisha," he says, his voice soft but clear. She freezes, her eyes meeting his, surprise flickering across her face. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" He steps closer, the room fading. "I was wrong," he says, his blue eyes steady. "Asking you to leave Chicago, your life, that was my mistake. I'm restructuring my company, delegating, so I can split time here. I want to be where you are, on your terms." His words carry the weight of his transformation, his choice to prioritize her world over his control. Aisha's breath catches, her gaze searching his. She sees the man who challenged her in the Willis Tower, who kissed her under Napa's stars, now humbler, earnest. "I need time," she says, her voice cautious but softer. "But coffee?" Daniel nods, relief breaking across his face. They agree to meet the next day at a Wicker Park cafe, its walls alive with colorful murals. Over steaming mugs, the neighborhood's eclectic vibe surrounds them. Aisha in a cozy sweater, Daniel in a casual jacket. They open up, their words raw. Aisha admits her fear of losing herself, her roots, to love. "Chicago's my home," she says, her fingers tracing the mug. "Bronzeville, my mom, it's who I am." Daniel leans forward, his voice steady. "I don't want you to change that. I want to learn it, to be part of it." He shares his hope to rebuild his life, to connect with his daughter, to be the man Aisha deserves. Their honesty bridges the gap that once tore them apart. Aisha sees Daniel's effort, his willingness to meet her halfway. Daniel sees her strength, her heart, and vows to honor it. "Let's try again," Aisha says, her smile tentative but real. "But we do this together, balancing both our worlds." Daniel takes her hand, his grip firm, a promise unspoken. The cafe's buzz fades, their connection reigniting like a flame that never fully died. Later, they walk along the Chicago River at dusk, the skyline glowing gold against the twilight. Aisha's coat brushes Daniel's as they move in step, the water reflecting the city's lights. The Willis Tower looms in the distance, a reminder of where their story began, a boardroom clash that became something deeper. They talk softly, about her work mentoring in Bronzeville, his plans to visit his daughter. The river's gentle flow mirrors their renewed hope, a future where love respects their differences. Aisha's roots, Daniel's growth, they're weaving a path forward together. This moment teaches a truth. Mutual respect builds lasting love. Aisha and Daniel's reunion, grounded in honesty and compromise, shows that love thrives when both sides honor each other's worlds. The city's glow, from Bronzeville's heart to the river's edge, lights their way, a symbol of hope for what's to come. The West Loop's vibrant streets hum as Aisha Coleman and Daniel Harper share a table at a cozy restaurant, the scent of grilled steak and rosemary filling the air. Aisha, in a flowing teal dress, laughs as Daniel, his sleeves rolled up, tries to mimic her South Side slang. Their renewed relationship feels like a fresh chapter, blending their worlds with care. Aisha brings Daniel to her South Side community, where they join a jazz night in Bronzeville, the music pulsing through a club near the DuSable Black History Museum. Daniel, in a casual jacket, listens as Aisha introduces him to old friends, her pride in her roots shining. He's learning her world, its rhythm, its strength, and she sees his effort, his willingness to step beyond his Gold Coast comfort. Their bond grows stronger through shared moments. On a weekend trip to Napa Valley, they wander a St. Helena vineyard, the rolling hills bathed in sunlight. Aisha, in a linen sundress, sips wine beside Daniel, his hand brushing hers. They talk about their future, her mentoring young women in Chicago, his plans to visit his daughter in Seattle. The vineyard's quiet beauty recalls their first kiss here, now a memory they cherish without fear. Back in Chicago, they spend evenings in Daniel's penthouse, Navy Pier's Ferris wheel glowing outside, planning a life that honors both their ambitions. Aisha's career thrives in the Loop, while Daniel's restructured company allows him to split time between cities, a compromise that feels like victory. Their journey reflects lessons hard-earned. In the Willis Tower boardroom, Aisha's authenticity, her unapologetic strength as a black woman from the South Side, sparked their connection, cutting through Daniel's polished world. Vulnerability deepened it, from their confessions over drinks at the signature room to their raw honesty under Napa's stars. Sacrifice tested them, as Aisha held fast to her roots and Daniel faced his board's demands. Their fight in her Hyde Park apartment, the pain of their separation, showed love's cost. But mutual respect sustained them. Daniel's return to Chicago, Aisha's courage to try again. Each step, from the lakefront trail to Bronzeville's streets, built a love that honors who they are. Now they stand on the lakefront trail at sunrise, the Adler Planetarium's dome catching the first light. Aisha's coat brushes Daniel's as they walk, the lake's waves a soft rhythm. She speaks of expanding her mentorship in Bronzeville, her voice alive with purpose. Daniel shares his hope to rebuild his bond with his daughter, his eyes bright with determination. Their hands entwine, the skyline stretching before them. Chicago's towers a symbol of their shared journey. They're not perfect, but they're committed, balancing ambition and love with care. The city's pulse, from the West Loop's energy to the South Side's heart, mirrors their hope for a future together. Their story teaches a final truth. Love thrives on mutual respect and compromise. Aisha and Daniel's path, from a boardroom clash to a renewed bond, shows that lasting connection comes from honoring each other's worlds. Aisha's roots in Bronzeville, her rise in the corporate world, remain her strength. Daniel's growth, his choice to adapt, makes him her partner. Together, they've built something real, a love that doesn't demand surrender, but embraces both their lives. The narrator's voice rises, warm and direct. Aisha and Daniel's journey began with a spark, weathered a storm, and found hope through respect. Their story asks, what does love and ambition mean to you? How do you balance who you are with who you love? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and tell us where you're watching from, Chicago, New York, or beyond. Your support fuels stories like this, so hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow's tale is one you won't want to miss, a new story of heart and hope. Thank you for joining us, for helping us bring these powerful stories to life. The camera lingers on Aisha and Daniel, their silhouettes against the lakefront trail's dawn glow. The Chicago skyline stands tall, a testament to their journey, from boardroom to bedroom, a millionaire's heart stolen, a love built to last. Their story closes, but its lessons echo, inviting viewers to reflect on their own paths, their own loves, their own compromises.